Star Worldwide. It's time for DrRademaker's prescription for transformation. Let's tap into your own authentic genius and live the life you desire.
You are now listening to...
Join Dr. Rademaker for an enlightened conversation about our brain intelligence, our body intelligence, and our energy intelligence. And now, here's your host, Dr. Bart Rademaker.
Welcome everyone. I'm Dr. Bart Rademaker, prescription for your transformation, hashtag real people and hashtag real conversations. And so today is another day where we get to tap into that intelligence, the intelligence that's all around us. And like I always like to begin, we live in an intelligent universe. Things are not just happening by random. It seems that way, but truthfully, there is an intelligence and things are not happening by random. And so the question is that what is it that you're tapping into? If there's some sort of disturbance in your life, if you're uncomfortable, if whatever's going on is not to your satisfaction, you don't feel great, you don't feel any of this, then you really should start asking questions. And what's interesting is that the results that we get in life really are a direct result of the questions that we ask. If we do ask better questions, we are going to get better answers. And so it's important to tap into that ability and to start getting that awareness of what's really happening within you so that you can start making the changes. Just don't settle for mediocrity. Just don't settle for, okay, well, the rest of the world is feeling this way or that way, or this is what we're told. Or if you watch the TV and you're being told, well, you got to take this medication or that medication to feel better. Well, that assumes that, or there's an expectation right there that you're going to have to take this medication, but nothing is further from the truth. And so the key then is where is it that you're going to want to look into this? And I believe in holistic health. I believe in natural health. I also believe in tapping into the body intelligence that's around us, also your brain intelligence, as well as your energy intelligence. And when you go back in history, it's really interesting. Eastern philosophy has a wealth and abundance of answers. And nothing's scientifically proven, or let me rephrase that. It wasn't scientifically proven then. But what was proven was, practice and experience and looking at results and seeing what can happen. And so there's a wealth of validity in all these things. And, in the Western world, we kind of liken to say, well, this is holistic. And so for today, I'd like to bring in a new angle that we can look into all of this. And so I'm delighted to invite Dr. Marlene Siegel, who is a practitioner of holistic medicine for pets. And, I thought that I was astonished that, there are these kinds of veterinary doctors that take the holistic approach. Because the truth is why would we treat our animals with all these medications and drugs and surgeries, if there is a better way to tap into that. And so I bring my pets there. I bring my other pets, which are my kids, there because they're all animals too. But, I think they've kind of outgrown that. So I want to welcome Dr. Marlene Siegel.
Dr. Bart, so much fun to be here. Thank you.
What's really exciting too about you is that you are a visionary as well. And not only because you've tapped into this world of an holistic approach for animals, but you're going way beyond that. You're going beyond as to how is it that we can tap into the environment and how is it that you can help people as well. And so you're creating this great concept, which is what you call the Holistic Health Summit. So just explain to us a little bit. What is your passion and what is your vision?
Well, Dr. Bart, you had a great segue, so thank you for that. We have a reason for being here. When I say being here, I mean in the world. And it's not random, and I agree with you. I think really what our main purpose is creation. I think we have an opportunity to create the type of life that we want to live. And here's the key. In order to know what you want, sometimes we have to see what we don't want. And so I think we create these conflicts. I think we create situations for us that enable us to ask the question, what am I trying to show myself? What am I trying to give myself information about? The problem is that most people, when they're in a position like that, they consider themselves stuck, or they think they're a victim of a situation. Instead of turning that around and saying, how can I use this situation to benefit me? What is it that I'm seeing in this situation that is ouchy, uncomfortable, something that I don't want? And if I could pick and choose what I do want as a contrast, what would that be? And how would I go about getting it? And our pets are fabulous at helping to show that to us.
And how do they do that?
Well, they show us by either the problems that they're exhibiting. It could be their health challenges, or it could be that I've had situations where an animal comes in with their owner, obviously, and in the evaluation, in the exam, in the conversation, there's information that's coming through intuitively that that person needs to hear. And I am willing to be the conduit to actually share that information. So we're either mirroring, reflecting, or in some other way channeling information for the owners, because it's not random that an owner has a particular pet at that particular time with that particular disease. There's always a connection.
So that's really an interesting concept, and I never really thought of it that way. Actually, that's not entirely true. I mean, I've been sort of aware of, how our own pets kind of intuitively connect and relate and behave according to our vibration. And it's interesting because you see, certain people with certain, problems, and then their animals present in certain ways. And then it's interesting how the person, the human, is completely unaware of what's going on, but very aware of something wrong with their animal. So how do you handle that, actually? I mean, what specifically how do you specifically help the people?
Well, I do emotional clearing. Well, the first thing you do is you get a good history, like any good practitioner. You do a good.
But what I mean is, are people willing to hear that? I mean, are people ready to hear that?
So I set the intention that the people coming through my office are there because they're open and willing to receive information. And 99% of the time, they are. But I also set the intention to attract those kind of people. So right. Very rarely do I see people who are very closed and non-receptive. I'm just not going to be the audience for them.
No, that makes sense. So you already have
about, don't we? So if I'm focused on attracting a certain type of clientele, then through the energetics of the universe, those are the people who are going to be energetically attracted to me.
So in essence, I guess you're right. I mean, you've got a qualified customer already because they like the idea of holistic medicine for their animals.
Absolutely.
Quite naturally, they're already in tune to that. So that would make sense. But,
and I do have a conversation with, are you open and receptive to hearing more about whether it's nutrition, whether it's about how to live more holistically? Whatever they do for that pet is always going to be an enhancement to their health as well.
So for the listeners to have an idea of what that looks like, and let's start off with a question. Why is it that you feel that it's better? I mean, I've got my answers, but why is it that you feel it's better? And for someone who's not familiar with that.
Are you referring to holistic health in general?
Yeah.
Well, I do passionately believe that we, as the creators of the universe, have a lot of tools and a lot of assistance. If we look at nature and we look at our surroundings, every answer, every tool, every piece of information that we need to solve anything in the world already exists for us. And all we have to do is open up to be willing to see it, to receive it, and to work with it. So I think using the best of both worlds, I tell people I live with one foot in the Eastern world and one foot in the Western world. And the beauty of that is I have advanced diagnostics. We do a lot of digital radiography, ultrasound, endoscopy. We have the ability to do MRIs and CT scans. We have all of this fabulous technology. But what we don't want to lose is tapping into our intuition, tapping into that connection to our higher consciousness that allows us to really go deeper into that healing process. So again, this is my personal belief, but I have experienced it so many times I cannot believe that it isn't true, that each experience that we create for ourselves is an opportunity to be able to release energies that we no longer need and to replace them with energies that are more serving to us. Right. Now, I use emotions as my guidance system. And it's very simple. Does it make you feel good? Go in that direction. If it doesn't make you feel good, don't go in that direction. Find a different channel because you're not congruent with where you're really wanting to go.
And what's interesting about that, I mean, there's a very clear biological basis to this, and most people don't even think about it. But when you think about it, you know, you have 70 trillion cells. And I often bring in this comment, so anybody who's heard it before, they're going to hear it again. So there's 70 trillion cells in our body, and every cell has its purpose is to survive. And so what do cells do? They're either going to respond to a positive thing in their environment and move towards it, or if there's a threat or something negative in the environment, they're going to go away from it. And so our entire existence does the same thing. If our cells do this, if we have 70 trillion cells that want to move towards something that's good or move away from something that's bad, guess what? Our whole body is going to do that as well. But what kind of messes it up is that brain that tries to use inaccurate information, if you will. I mean, you know, garbage in, garbage out, basically. So inadequate or inaccurate or misunderstood information, and then uses that to make decisions that are completely inappropriate. Besides the fact that there are a lot of programs that might be running within us because of our experiences and perhaps negative experiences that want to move us away from it, from whatever it is, also because we're not understanding what it is. So yes, I agree with you. I mean, tapping into feeling good and not feeling is excellent. So here's my question. How long have you been practicing like this?
I've been practicing altogether 30 years, but the alternative side of my practice going on 18.
So what's the story behind that?
Well, I had always been intuitive. Even when I was a kid, I had a lot of intuitive skills. I just thought it was normal. You know, when you're that way, you don't realize that there's anything but that. So I would have visions. I would have this intuitive hit. I was just always right when things happened, but I thought everybody was like that. And then a few years back, I had a horse. I didn't realize it was different. I had a horse that actually had an injury that caused her to rear during a horse show with my 10-year-old child on board. And that horse literally saved my daughter's life. Even though she ended up flipping over backwards, she pushed herself away from where my daughter was falling so that she didn't crush her. And it was in the quest to fix that horse that it led me into alternative medicine. And it just, everything that I learned to help her, I ended up employing into my practice. And then the universe just became bigger and bigger and bigger. And I started realizing that there was no accident that that horse led me down that path. She was my first soul friend. And I still have her, and she's doing fantastic. And I still am expanding and growing every single day in the opportunities to enhance healing in all dimensions.
So give me a statistic here. How many people are there like you doing what you do in the country?
Well, I'm a follower of human design. It's a special type of practice that categorizes people into 5 categories. And I am a manifester, and there are only 5% of the population that are manifestors. So I would have to say that I'm rather unique.
So what percent was that? I missed that.
There's only 5% of the universe that is manifestors. So I'm the archetype of a manifester. There's very few of us around.
So, and then more specifically, as a holistic veterinarian, how many of those are around?
Well, there are a lot of veterinarians that hold a shingle out that say they're alternative or they're holistic.
I don't count those, the real ones.
I think it's like being a painter versus an artist. There are those who have that intuitive ability to create and paint in a way that is just phenomenal. And then there's those who can follow the numbers and paint by the little blocks. And I would say that I have been gifted and blessed to be the artist in the holistic world because I'm just open to receiving and following pathways that most people would not want to go down that rabbit hole.
Okay. So you're not allowed to ask those questions, Blade.
Why not? I want to know if she's a manifestor and she knows it. I want to know what Dr. Bart is.
I have no idea. I thought of the question myself.
He's probably either a manifestor or a manifestor generator because he's a go-getter, get-it-done guy.
That's right. So you're a generator.
What would Blake be then?
It's the first time I met Blake, so I don't know.
No, but you have intuition. You told us. You should know.
Blake, I would say you're a projector. So when we're done with our interview, I'll send you to the link and you can fill out the little questionnaire. It's a really cool system. It incorporates Kabbalah, Chinese, and it's Kabbalah, Eastern and Western.
Kabbalah sounds like a vegetable, but
Eastern and Western chakra systems. It does the Chinese I Ching. It has astrology in there, Eastern and Western astrology. So it really covers a lot of different aspects. And you put certain information in, and then a chart is read, and it tells you what your archetype is.
Can I do it in the next 5 minutes? Because I'll do it now while you guys are talking.
I'd have to send you the link, and it's not up.
Okay, all right. We'll do it afterwards then. That's cool. Okay.
And then they have to send you your archetype, and that takes 24 hours.
Projector signing out for now, and back to the manifestor projector himself.
Right. Well, you're a producer, so it sounds like about right that you're a projector, and you always project all your stuff on everyone else. So
I'm sorry, I'm trying to sign out.
No, that's good. We like your comments. We had that conversation.
Okay.
We had that conversation yesterday.
Okay.
He threw me under the bus the other day, kind of, sort of.
That's what producers do, Marlene. You don't know that, but that's what they do. They try to throw the host under the bus.
We're good to the guests, though, right?
Oh, absolutely. The guests are queen.
That's why I have the bear behind me. That was for Blade's benefit. So anyhow, that's my destiny bear. Just so you know.
Well, Dr. Bart, one of the areas I wanted to bring up was that in my work with my clients, one of my questions to them will always be, do you know why you're here? And 99.9% of the people will not have an answer. They'll go, yeah, I've asked that question before. I've always wondered, but they really don't know what it is. And I think that's one of the reasons why they end up in my office is because through the experience of whatever we're going through with their pet, they inevitably find a portion, if not all, of their purpose. And we don't come here for just one thing. We have a lot of things we come here for. But that is certainly one time that we have an opportunity to explore it on a very deep level.
And that's really exciting because, such an important part of our life, our pets. And for a multitude of reasons. And, that might be a fun conversation if there's time at the end or some other time. But the truth is that, you're helping them, with other parts of their life because they are open and receptive. And what a wonderful gift, that you're giving to people. That's amazing. And I'm delighted, again, stepping into your other vision, which is the idea of your summit and also sustainable living. So you can pick right now which one you want to talk about.
Well, we'll touch on sustainable living because it's our segue into the summit and why we're doing it. We are not solitary creatures. We don't go through with a myopic vision of the world. We are connected to everything. You mentioned the fact that we have 70 trillion cells. We're also 10 to 1 more bacteria than we are human cells.
Right.
We are loaded with bacteria. And I don't know, other than myself, I don't know very many people that when they go to sit down and eat dinner, they think to themselves, oh, how can I feed my bacteria along with me? And I actually do think about that. What am I putting in or on my body that is going to support the good bacteria in my body along with supporting me? So when we start realizing that we are a part of a whole, we're connected to every piece of matter in this universe, and we're connected to the animals, to the people. We're really all a part of the whole. And when we start treating the whole as if it is part of us, and we give it the same respect that we would ourselves, and we treat it with loving kindness, and we have gratitude and compassion, then it changes the entire makeup of the world. It changes everything about how we interact with the world and what we create. So our animals and nature give us an opportunity to look at, are we living in harmony or are we not? Right. And that's a pretty clear answer a lot of times. Are we killing the bees? Are we killing the frogs in the oceans and the waters and the lakes? And what are we doing? And if we're not living in harmony, it doesn't feel good. That's our opportunity to go, oh, well, look at that. There's some contrast there. What could I do differently? And then you go internally and say, what are my gifts? What are my talents? What are my passions? What could I do that could contribute and change, even if it's just your little sphere of the world. What can I do differently that will make a difference? And that's what I help people see through the experience with their animals.
So, but it's interesting too, because this has been my challenge. And, as a coach, so I'm a life coach. I've been coaching for a long time. And, I've also been working in the realm of wellness. And so I've developed wellness programs. I have a whole corporation for that, which I'm working on right now, which will really change the landscape quite a bit, just conceptually. And the one challenge that I see, as much as people realize that, they need to work out, they need to eat better, they just don't. So how do you help people see the other side of what needs to be seen? And when you talk about the frogs and you talk about the crickets and all these things and how our world is affecting them. And if you look at Brazil and the jungles, how thousands of species are just being totally eradicated. That has to have an impact. And then, it's almost like, some of the organizations out there use more of a violence to counteract it, which is not supportive either. So what's your solution for people to start to begin, if you will, to have a better relationship with the environment?
So when we started out, I talked about the fact that we have the ability to see through our experience contrast. Now, it's important to take that contrast and do something with it. If you had a computer sitting in front of you and you have a whole bunch of Word documents in there, you can't just look at the computer and say, delete. You have to pick a folder, you have to pick a document, then you have to pull it up. And then after you've selected the document and you hit the delete button to delete that document, what does your computer ask you, Dr. Bart?
Do you want to delete it, yes or no?
It asks you to be sure you want to delete it, and you have to say yes in order to delete that. Well, all of these thoughts, emotions, experiences that live in our subconscious mind, whether you believe in reincarnation or not, there's a whole lot of information in your subconscious mind that you're not aware of. And yet, those are part of the programs that when you focus on an experience, they start dictating how you respond. So I believe that this is a time for us to be able to see those programs and hit the delete button. So I help people to see what are the programs that are running that are sabotaging you. Not just that you're overweight. Well, you're not just overweight. You're overweight because you're sabotaging yourself. You don't do that on purpose. And yet there's a program running in the background that you may not be aware of. But when you start bringing that program to the surface and you're able to identify what is the reason that program is running, and you can let that program go, you can hit the delete button and it's gone. And I have several techniques that we do that with. It is an absolute life changer. It changes everything. You can make your body go into healthy weight. You can help chronic diseases go away. I've had a man who had horrible arthritis to the point where he just didn't even want to live any longer. And through an experience with his pet, he came in, and anyhow, I asked him if he wanted to get rid of the pain, and we got rid of his pain in under 20 minutes. It was the most remarkable thing. And he just kept looking at his knees and going, it's the first time I've been out of pain in years. And his doctor told him he'd never be out of pain. And he didn't with the work, so eventually his pain came back, but he sat there pain-free.
So you can help me with my pain with Blade and help me create a program so I'm nicer to him?
I don't know if I can make Blade go poof and go away, but whole different conversation, Dr. Bart.
I mean, I'm so hard on Blade. I feel guilty after. I'm crying for 30 minutes after each show.
Looks like a nice guy. I don't know.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I was enjoying the conversation, Dr. Bart.
So back to what is the reason?
I agree with the programs 100%, and I totally and that's how I coach people as well when we talk about programming. And we're just like a computer. We're setting a whole bunch of programs. So, but even more specifically, my question for you, because there's such great value on this, but for people who are listening, for example, today, and in the future. And on a larger scale, I mean, do you see any possibility to helping people come to that awareness, not on a one-to-one basis, because that's part of it. That's part of the solution. But I'm guessing you have other ideas too, right? Intuitively, I'm guessing you have some insights how on a larger scale we can bring more people quickly into that awareness. I don't know what Blade is doing, but he's messing it up here. So any thoughts on that?
I have a couple different things that I'm working on, and one of them is a holistic health summit for animals, which of course is going to apply to people. And I'm pulling together a variety of different practitioners. They're not all veterinarians, but a lot of them are, in a variety of different alternative aspects. And the purpose of that summit is to educate people that there are a lot of other things out there. Some of the topics we're going to cover includes chiropractic work, acupuncture, energy therapies. We talk about structured water, hydrogen structured water. It's huge. We're 70% water. What we drink is very, very important. We talk about hyperbaric therapies and its role in health, infrared therapies. We're talking about pulse electromagnetic therapies. Emotional healing is a huge topic. How do we identify what our programs are that are running, and how do we change those programs? If I have a recorder and I just keep playing back the same message, I can yell at that recorder all I want. Until I delete that message and I rewrite that program, it's going to say the same thing. So these are programs that help people to understand how do you rewrite those programs so that you can see the contrast, you know where you want to go, and then we help them actually get there. And the pets are a guide for us. We do homotoxicology. I have another doctor who has a tremendous amount of work in using products like thymus and colostrum and a drug called, pentagenesis. And we do essential oils, we do herbs, homotoxicology. There's so many other aspects that we cover. And so this summit will be something that will educate the public. It's going to be a free program. We don't have the date yet because we're still doing our recordings, but it's going to help people to understand that there really are a lot of other options out there. And then from there, we're going to educate other doctors. It doesn't have to be veterinarians. It's going to be practitioners of all kinds. And then we'll give them information as to what other opportunities do they have to find a practitioner that can work with them, whether it's functional medicine or energy clearing or emotional healing, whatever it is that they need. But it gives them an opportunity to start seeking for those who will help them. So it's information.
I think that's tremendous. I think that's such a beautiful thing. And that's essentially the platform that I'm always operating from. And I was talking to Blade about this yesterday of why that, what happened to your hat? You lost your hat. You look better with your hat on. What?
Never wearing a hat or headphones, Bart. They're called headphones.
Oh, okay.
You guys must have been siblings in another lifetime.
Yeah, he was my worst nightmare.
We weren't.
So, but
so to answer your question, how do we get it out to the world? It's through
let me just finish though. I mean, what I was saying was that my platform here is really getting new voices to the table, and we're so inundated with a lot of information out there, but a lot of that information is is very much scripted. There's agendas behind most of these, except for like Nat Geo and those kinds of things. But there is a lot of limitation as to what it is that we get to hear. And so what I'm excited, my purpose for my platform, for the radio show and the Blab, is really to get voices like yours that aren't being heard out there so that people get to hear this kind of stuff and get more of awareness. And that almost in a sense that some of the conversations that we get to have, not quite go viral because they're not all that sensational, but the information is sensational. The information is valuable. The information is different. And so not so much to showcase you in this particular case, for example, but just showcase the opportunity of having this global conversation on a platform like this, and we can get more people involved. And that's going to be one of our next shows with you and I, is getting more people to the table with these kinds of conversations so that people also have more information, but also more solutions, and then also more experts to go to. And so, that's my side. That's my contribution, getting the word out. And so, but you wanted to share what your answer was.
Well, it was about education. So the summit that I'm putting together with your help, thank you so much, is one opportunity to get out to more people. And then I'm using a 63-acre farm that I have, we talked about it once before, and turning that into a sustainable community. And sustainable means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, but it's basically a format where we can help people to find alternatives and things that help them to be more of who they authentically came here to be. How do you get rid of the things that you don't want and replace that with the things that you do want? And it's about forming communities that help you do that. I'm very involved in permaculture. I'm very involved in doing hydroponics and growing food and helping people to eat a healthier lifestyle, how to know what is good nutrition for you. And so I'm very, very involved with that. I'm having a big thing at my office this coming Tuesday night, March 29th, and the producer of a system called Echo Water, the actual founder and guy who invented this product, is going to be coming and speaking to our audience. And also you can dial in and listen to the conversation if you can't come in person, and learn more about how structured water, why is it important? Why is it that most people walk around and they're dehydrated, just plain dehydrated? And is the water in the tap, is it good for you? Is it not good for you? How do you get good nutrition into your body? How do you get good water into your body? How do you eliminate the toxins that we have control of? And as we educate people and they make better decisions, their health starts to change for themselves, for their families. You know, right now, it is predicted that 1 out of 2 males will have cancer and 1 out of 3 females will have cancer right now in this day and time. And so we hear these ads, buy more cancer insurance. No, we don't need to buy more cancer insurance. We need to find out why we're having more cancer. We need to find out why our children in this day and age will not live as long as we will. That's the first time in the history of mankind that children will not live longer than their parents. We have to stop and go, there is a reason why that's happening. Why are we seeing that in this world? And by Jove, I am not going to take another pill to take care of it. I am not going to fall into allowing the media to dictate what my health is going to be. We have to take control. We have to make different decisions. And it's really not more expensive. It's just a different decision. We have to have a different conversation with ourselves, with our surroundings, with our families, with our friends, with the audiences that are listening. One that says, you are the creator. You get to make the decision. You have to change what you're doing. Wasn't it Einstein that said insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result?
Right.
We can't keep doing status quo. We have to make a difference. And we start with our choices.
You know, I started a lecture in Ecuador recently, and, you know, I positioned myself by saying, you know, what if I told you that the future of medicine is in you? You know, what would you do differently? How would you impact people differently because of that? And then I proceeded to say, you know, you are the summation of all your decisions, all your beliefs, all your values, and all your experiences to this very moment. So it's your fault that you're here right now. Thank you, Blade. It's your fault that you're here with me now. And so, and most people, right. Most people just don't have that awareness, and they aren't taking that responsibility. And so whatever state they're in, whatever medical condition they're in, whatever is going on in their lives, you know, they just blame the rest of the world, blame the environment. And, you know, it's interesting, you know, when the economy goes down and you know, crisis happens, you know, most people, you know, equate their downfall with that, when more millionaires are created in a downturn than any other time. So it's just interesting that people just need to have that awareness, and that they can, you know, be more in control of their lives. Yes. But it starts off with that awareness, and it starts off with that knowledge that it is possible. And it starts off with, as you say, you know, not running that program that's not going to, you know, give you the feelings that you want to have. Yeah.
I oftentimes, if I start having I'll call it a negative vibration or a low vibrating frequency, anger, frustration, shame, guilt, whatever the emotion is, I bring that all, I don't try to push it down. I bring it all the way to the surface and I go, what is this about? First of all, is it mine, or am I in training to somebody around me? And then secondly, what can I do about it? How could I let it go? Do I need to have forgiveness? Do I need to have compassion? Do I need to have gratitude? What do I need to do so that I can let that go and replace it with something that is going to be more serving for me? And it's really not hard. You just have to become aware of the emotion. You like it, do more of it. You don't like it, do something different. It's really not hard.
No, it really isn't. And what's also interesting too, and I'm going to see if I can find this file that I have. But I have to, give credit to Robert Dilts and Mitchell Stevko from a mastermind group with a Genius Mastermind group. And it really is about something that Rumi said many, many years ago. This is almost 2,000 years ago, in a poem of his called The Guest House. And I'm going to see if I can find it right now. And it's really just accepting the fact that whatever is happening in your life, is an opportunity. And here's the poem. And it says, here we go. It says, this being human is a guest house, every morning a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house, empty of its furniture. Still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. And so the strategy that, Dr. Robert Dilts came up with is simply this, is that when you've got that moment, what I call disturbance, and just there's 4 steps. And the first step is be curious. Be curious as to what this is. No judgment, no qualification, verification, validation, whatever. Just simply no judgment. Be curious. Then the second part is this makes sense. I mean, somewhere, as you talked about before, there's a program running. So this would make sense. The third step is...
Dr. Bart, before you go to step number 3.
Let me finish it first. So the third step is something needs to be healed, heard, or held. So something there needs to be healed, heard, or held. And just leaving it at that. So you're just leaving it at the fact that you're curious, no judgment. You're leaving it at the fact that it does make sense somewhere without having to know what that sense is. The third is, acknowledging that something can happen, not even deciding what that is, and then just say, welcome to my house. And then from there, letting our unconscious mind process, because you've brought it up to the forefront, and now you can do something about it. And no different than what Edgar Toole was talking about, is just being present and just acknowledging the frustrations, the angers, the whatever negative emotions that are happening, and kind of stepping out of it and being that third person observer, and then deciding, okay, what this means. Sorry, I interrupted you. You were in front of me.
I wanted to clarify that one spot. On a quantum level, it is said that the only thing in the universe is you, and you are the creator of all that is in your universe. So if you go with that idea, then everything that is in your experience, all your emotions, everything you've ever encountered, all your thoughts, etc., have all been part of you. Now, at some point, they had served a purpose. There's a reason why it's part of who you are, and it's not a bad thing. At some point, it was a valuable thing.
Right.
The question is, now as you've evolved, do you still need that? And it's kind of like doing a feng shui in your house where you get rid of stuff that you're not using anymore so you make room for new stuff. We're at a point in our evolution right now, a very unique time in the evolution of the world, where we're moving from a world of competition to a world of cooperation. Well, in doing that, we have to make room for new concepts. We have to make room for new stuff. So we have to get rid of some of the stuff. If you had a cup and it was just all the way full, you couldn't fit any new water in there because it was full. So we have to let go of some of the things that at one time served us, but we don't need them any longer. So in recognizing some of these things and not judging them as bad or good, but just whether or not we need them anymore, when we can let that go, we can then make room for more things that will serve us in the world coming, in this world of cooperation. So that's just what I wanted to clarify, is that There is no judgment, or there shouldn't be any judgment. It's really about, why was this energy, this emotion in my vortex to begin with? Do I need it? Nope, get rid of it. If I do need it and it's serving me a purpose, then you want to hang on to that. Not hard.
And it also comes down to basically your own forgiveness. And there's the Fijian, sort of practice, the Ho'oponopono, which is, I'm sorry, I forgive you, I love you, thank you. And so whatever order that works, and just reminding us, that you can be forgiven, that, this is your human experience, whatever it is. And you don't have to make it what it's not. And that's where we get so stuck. And so you're absolutely right, from on a quantum level. I mean, we are the summation of all that. And
we can go through here, and we can actually release energies. This is one of the things I do with the animals. We can actually release, through forgiveness, energies that are entrained with our animals, energies for people who have passed on. It happens to me all the time.
Right.
That there's a non-physical presence that needs to be forgiven or released. And when you release it for the person in front of you, you release it for all time and space, from the past, the present, and the future. Quite amazing.
So I think it's all amazing stuff, half of which I don't even understand. I don't understand Blade either. But my question, though, for you, I mean, do you ever get a lot of pushback from people?
Very, very little.
Really?
Yeah, because, again, I set my intention that I'm here to serve those who are ready, willing, receptive, and allowing the information in their way. So very, very little.
And that's awesome, because, one of the big challenges that we have in this world, and, which is what I found, for myself, being a medical doctor and then plastic surgeon. And then, everybody has a certain kind of expectation of what comes out of my mouth and what I do. And it's interesting, because some of my colleagues, and I think more based out of jealousy in these particular cases, but they're saying all these odd things that, I do weird things. And what's weird? Well, I'm a life coach, so I guess that's weird. And I believe in energy medicine, so I guess that's weird. And so, for a person like myself, I've gotten a lot of, arrows in my back, even with life coaching for something. And, the truth is life coaching is really the predecessor of what we were going to call, belief medicine. And again, I have to give credit to Mitchell and Olga Stevko, who are the founders of belief medicine, because that's where a lot of this is going to happen. And getting back to that cellular equation that we were talking before, how cells move towards and move away, really what cells are doing is they're responding to the external environment. And when you think about it, what's in the external environment, there's really only three things in the external environment of every single cell. Number one is any kind of trauma. Number two are any kind of toxins, and especially the environmental toxins, 350,000 in excess of that environmental toxins. And then God knows how many internal toxins. But also the third one, which no one ever thinks about it, but your beliefs, your thoughts. I mean, those are essentially a bunch of chemicals running around, running havoc sometimes around your cells, causing your cells to respond in all sorts of ways. Absolutely. And so it's fascinating that we can start, manifesting a different kind of experience. And it's going to take pioneers like yourself, myself, and Blade with his production.
Myself, yes.
Yeah. Can't leave you out, man. I mean, you're part of this train, to really, help change the conversation. And I like what you said, basically from the premise of starting it from a positive intention, and I wrote something on Facebook the other day, it was all about why we fight. There's so many people fighting in this world. And truthfully, it's because they're all in pain. They're afraid, they're in pain, they're suffering, and they don't even know that. And so they're tapping into that survival instinct that they have, that, the world as we know it, the programs, as you mentioned, are the ones that they feel are the ones that are going to keep them alive. And now they're being threatened by a new knowledge. And it's just interesting then to see how people get so intense and aggressive and violent with all these things, when what we really need to know is, what's true, and having that respect and having that compassion and having the openness, which clearly, your clients are getting, is having that openness to have a different kind of experience, one that is more holistic. Because the truth is, as you mentioned, we are one whole of a bigger whole of a bigger whole of a bigger whole. I mean, every organ that we have within us is a whole within a bigger whole within a bigger whole. And so recognizing that, it's going to make a big difference. And that's why I'm excited about your plan, with the summit, bringing all these people together, creating a bigger whole and a bigger conversation, and then creating a space that people can actually experience. And that space is very close to here, isn't it?
Yes. Greg Braden has some work to help make a clearer understanding when people see bad things in the world. He has a YouTube video that's free. It's a lecture that he gave called The Seven Essene Mirrors. The Essenes were an ancient group of Jews, mystical Jews. Jesus was an Essene. And they say that we pass through 7 mirrors in our movement to the one. And the first mirror is that we see in the world that which we are. We're reflecting that. So if you wake up one day and you're frustrated or you're impatient or you're angry and you can't find your keys, you have a flat tire, you get every red light, everything you see reflects that mood that you're in. That means that you're in that first mirror. And the second mirror is that which you judge in the moment. So for just those 2 mirrors, there's 5 other ones. It's awesome lecture that he gives. But when you're experiencing something, ask yourself the first question. Is this something that I'm reflecting? Is this something that's inside of me that I'm seeing shown to me like it's on a video screen? Right. Or something that I'm in judgment of? So I'm kind of going back to your comment that there's a lot of discontent in the world. There's a lot of things that are not pretty in the world. And I try to help people see that as either, is that something that's a part of you that you need to heal within you? Because if you're the only thing in the universe, you're reflecting something for you to see it on a screen, you're reflecting it for the purpose of being able to do something about it. So if you see hatred in the world, what would you do more of? Compassion, love, forgiveness, and kindness. So look at it that way, instead of just going, oh, the world's a horrible place. What can I do differently? How can I use my gifts, my talents, my passion, and how can I add more of the opposite of whatever that is into the world?
Right.
So
it's
so, what you said, but just in a different aspect.
Right. So that's how I projected, Blade, because, I wanted him in my life because he's such a good influence to me. Right, Blade?
Well, yeah. Well, you're a manifestor projector. We've already talked about that. So that makes sense to me.
Our next episode, we'll know what you guys are.
So
we can even get Karen Curry, who is the guru in human design. We can get her to come on with us.
I would love that. Would be really fun. Can you make that happen?
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So,
summit.
So here's the thing too, and again, it's interesting, what you say. I came up, with a distinction myself, which I gladly share and coach people. And at first they're kind of confused by what I'm sharing with them. But what I am sharing with them is I celebrate my faults and my weaknesses. And I say that simply from the perspective like, wow, okay, I now know what I can work with, what I need to work with, what I can change, what I can be aware of, whatever it is. Not making them bad, but not celebrating that, okay, well, they're good and they're here to stay. No, it's really about now I'm aware of something that I can work on and that I can then change. But the other thing, too, is what I'm really realizing, and I've made a lot of changes in my life recently, is simply this, is the question, the primary question that runs in my brain most of the time is, what is it that I really want, really? And so the reason the second really is there is because oftentimes, again, running those programs, well, I should be doing this, I'm obligated for this is the right way, this is the right form, I need to behave, And for example, Blade and I were talking about this yesterday. I mean, what's the kind of style that we're going to have here? And I'm coming from a place, well, I got to be serious and everything else. That's why this show is a little different. So getting to that space where then you just get into that alignment with who you are, right? Your mind, your heart, your body, and then checking in and says, what is it that I really want? And that's such an awesome place to be, because it allows you that opportunity to really follow what you're passionate about, but also being really honest with yourself. And very young, I made this distinction. I didn't even realize what it really meant. But there's really essentially three truths: the truth that you tell somebody else, the truth that you tell yourself, and the real truth of what's happening. And so in this world where we can't even communicate properly, let alone be truthful to ourselves, it's a mess.
Yes, but we have the opportunity to see the mess, to realize, what is it that I could create from that mess? Why am I seeing it? Why is it in my vortex?
Yeah.
And what can I do differently about it? So it's all fabulous when you come from a perspective that everything that you are creating is for your highest and best good, no matter what it is.
I would agree.
Right now, just trust, have that faith and trust without any fear, because fear is man-made, has no existence and no place in my life. But if you have the trust and faith that everything is for your highest and best purpose, then when a roadblock comes up or something ouchy comes up, you can look at that and go, okay, if I'm going to pay attention to my GPS and I'm seeing a little bit of a roadblock, then do I need to make a little veer to the left, a little veer to the right? Do I need to make a U-turn and come back and find a different road? And when you're open to that and you allow the universe to communicate with you, when you allow your higher consciousness, the part that you've always been connected to, when you allow that intuition to help drive you, to help guide you, and you use your emotions as that GPS system, life creates a flow. Not to say that you don't have road bumps. They're there to help put you back on path. They're help you, give you better guidance. It is an amazing opportunity to create in a way that we've never, ever been taught.
So that leads me to this question, and I want to be very open about this. This platform doesn't talk about politics, doesn't talk about religion, and it's very vanilla sex. So, but the question that I have here, which is interesting then, is and not to qualify religion in any place, but isn't that what religion was probably meant to be for people, to help guide people to a higher vibration? And the only unfortunate thing that I'm guessing, and this is no criticism of any kind of religion, but that it became too dogmatic and too restrictive. But perhaps, with a inferior awareness of humanity, and which is great, nowadays, is we're getting so much more of that. We're getting so many more things are opening up. But truthfully, they were these sages in the past that realized this and realized the inabilities of people to see that higher sense. And that's why they brought in religions. I mean, I just thought of that. Would that make sense?
Yeah, I don't want to step on anybody's toes either, but I think organized religion got away from what it was originally designed for, which is higher consciousness and connection and the individual, and it became a way to manipulate the masses through fear. So for me, anything that is trying to manipulate me through fear isn't part of a platform I'm willing to play in.
Right. Yeah, and I just rephrase it differently in the sense that, because I know a lot of wonderful people, are into religion. I also know statistically that people in religions are happier, they're healthier, they're more productive, they're more successful in life. And really it comes down to this guidance, the guidance that are provided to people so that they have this kind of roadmap, because life is complicated. And that's why coaching is such a great thing. It's a different kind of map, but it's more of an open-ended map. And we are connected in a way, and however you want to call it, because there's a God or not, whatever you want to believe. I mean, there is that higher sense within us and outside of us that we can tap into. And I think this is a great time that we live in today, because we have so many voices of people. And that's why I have this platform as well, because I without judgment, I want to bring different voices here to allow people to hear new things and make new choices for themselves, because that's what we need. And now with the communication technology that's out there, and obviously with the help with Blade and some of the things that we're going to be doing together, is really getting that information out there, because now we can reach anywhere in the globe, because so many people have cell phones or tablets or some sort of internet access where they can now get this information.
It's an amazing opportunity, an amazing time that we live in.
So I want to support you in what you're doing. And so how can people find more about you? And, if they have questions about what it is that you're doing, either from the perspective of their own personal pets, or if it's the summit, or if it's sustainable living, how do people get connected with you?
Well, my website is www.pasco, P like in Paul, A, S like in Sam, C like in cat, O, vet, B like in Victor, E, Edward, T, Tom.com. So it's www.pascovet.com. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I have a blog site. Most everything can be accessed through my website, so that's the easiest way to go in. And I do consultations all around the country with other veterinarians. So if a client were to call and say, I want to have a holistic doctor who, like myself, who wants to participate in the wellness of that particular patient, I can do that also.
Is there a phone number they can call?
Area code 813-973-2929.
There you go. So
it'd be a fun dinner date. I'm telling you, Marianne. She'd be cheap. She'd be cheap, Bart, because there'd be no time to eat. We'd be talking. Both of you. You should take her out to dinner one time, Bart. You guys wouldn't eat. I'm telling you. Do another hour, man. She's
why
great.
are you saying that I'm fat?
What? I'm saying you're intellectual, and you match her intellect and her wit. Both of you do. It's great.
Yeah, but you're saying that I'm fat.
No.
Marlene,
did I say that? No. Did I?
Yeah, that was your judgment. That's we met for the first time.
Which mirror did you walk through, Bart? Was it mirror 1, 2, or 3, Marlene? Which one was it that made him say that?
Are you reflecting? Are you?
Yeah.
Which one are we in?
That's right. Is he projecting or reflecting? That's the question. I want you to think about that, Bart, when you go home this evening. Okay, was I rejecting?
I'm just angry and disappointed. Now I feel rejected.
Frequencies.
What?
Low vibrating frequencies. What can you shift that to? You're on a low channel. Let's move it to a high channel. Let's stay in that high vibration.
See how this guy has that impact on me? You should see him the other day. I couldn't stop laughing.
Can you very quick? We got a minute or two, Marlene. Bart could tell me about how do you move from the lower to the higher, like you just said?
You literally change your thoughts. Sometimes that's hard. Let's say you dropped a brick on your foot and it really hurts and it's hard to take your mind off of that. You really have to work at that. But most of the time you can change your thoughts and start thinking about something that you like, something that makes you feel good, something that you enjoy. And if it's really, really hard to stop that thought, go to sleep. Just go to sleep. And that stops the vibration. It stops the momentum. There's a cute saying that I like that sometimes people get in an airplane and they're going to go parachute diving and they jump out of the airplane without their parachute. And then they say, oh my God, what do I do now? Well, you jumped, you don't have a parachute. Just hang on, it's going to be over pretty soon. Because you've already set such momentum that you can't stop it. But if you have an opportunity to start becoming aware of your emotions, become aware of your thoughts, then when they start coming up, you go, oh, that's not really comfortable. Do I really want to keep going in that direction? No. Then what can I think about differently? And you literally change your thoughts.
That's awesome. And on that note, thank you so much, Marlene, Dr. Marlene Siegel from PascoVet.com, holistic veterinarian. Incredible experience, incredible vision. And check out her website, check out the summit that's coming up. Great information, as well as the sustainable living. I'm Dr. Bart Rademaker, prescription for your transformation. #real people, #real conversations. tapping into that intelligence that's around us. It's a brain intelligence, it's a body intelligence, and it's the energy intelligence. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Recording on Blab, yes.
Yes.
So I stopped it. So Stephanie's going to join us. And there you go.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, Stephanie.
I co-own a wellness center. We do acupuncture, massage, and organic facials. And so I am a massage therapist and a healer. So I totally am into the whole energy thing. I'm at the wellness center now. But one of the things we do at the wellness center is we manufacture a line of herbal formulas for pets. We have 12 formulas. This is one called Bladder Blend, which is amazing. I don't really know any veterinarians, so I would love to know why cats and dogs have bladder issues and things like that, so I don't seem stupid when I want to go and talk to people about our product. You know what I'm saying? I'd be happy to pay somebody's time to, that's why I was saying, do you do consults on how, information?
I do. So what I want to encourage you to do is not just treat the symptom, because what you just described to me was person comes in, their cat or dog is having a quote unquote bladder problem, and so you have an herb that could treat that. Well, what if it wasn't herb responsive? What if it was a tumor that was in the bladder? What if it had some other reason for being there? What if it was diet related? So you don't really want to just treat that animal. First of all, you can get a lot of you can get in a lot of trouble for that. So be really, really careful, because you'd be practicing veterinary medicine. But if you were able to set up a consult, a person comes in, they have a pet problem, and we were able to work together, then just like any good practitioner, you get a good history, you do a good physical exam, you find out what the root problems are, and then you create a wellness platform around that.
And Marlene, but I think she's
so vets is the target person, that holistic vets, because they're the doctor and they're able to know if this is what would be good for them.
Right. And when it gets into herbal products, is that a tincture? Is it an actual?
Yeah, it's a tincture.
Okay.
It's a tincture.
So what you would want to do is make sure that that product energetically is right for that patient.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know about muscle testing. So we wouldn't be pursuing the animal. This is something that we would sell to pet stores, or we do sell to pet stores. We private label for an online pharmacy, and then we also have a website where people go to and things like that. But I think vets should be the ones that know what they're obviously. But I would like to know reasons why cats and dogs, or cats mostly and dogs, have chronic bladder infections or, leak, is that because of old age? I just like to have more information so I know, why certain things.
So if I understand you correctly, you really want to talk to Dr. Marlene Siegel about this. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's many levels.
Like you said, she said she does consults, but, I was just wondering if I'd be happy to pay her as an expert to give me a consultation on questions I have about pet things. Well, I could have a whole list of questions.
Absolutely. Every case is going to be different. So
wait, Marlene, I think she's asking for you to just have a conversation with her about her products.
Sure. Absolutely.
Is that right?
Yes and no, but yes. Just yes. Everything. So many questions I have, I don't even know where to begin. I have to be, prepared for a meeting and,
One of the questions that you asked was, you would like to understand why animals get chronic urinary tract infections.
Right.
And there's 100 different answers. And it all depends on
that's good to know. It's good to know.
Yeah. So you would have to do on a case-by-case basis. So just like there's not one tool that is going to treat every kind of disease.
Okay.
A multitude of tools. You use a lot of different tools in what you do. So we use everything from touch healing to chiropractic work to acupuncture to herbs to oils to homeopathy to frequency. We do so many different things. And it really is, what does that individual need? Sometimes it's emotional clearing. Sometimes
Right.
it's appearing along with a whole bunch of other things. It's diet, nutrition.
And we're talking about pets too, right? Emotional clearance for pets. I know that's kind of, it's interesting because I believe in that because I'm a healer and I believe in that, but I don't know how many people just random people,
A lot too. That's my practice.
I know.
Stephanie,
Yes,
where is your practice, Stephanie?
We're in Pacific Palisades, California.
Okay.
I just connected with a lady from Canada who does live blood analysis. It's another modality that I do. And she's doing live blood analysis and wants to get involved in doing live blood on animals. So I'm going to be doing consultation work with her on interpreting the case, the live blood, and how to actually do the right thing for the animal. And again, I just can't emphasize enough. There's so many people that love working on animals, and they're great practitioners, they're massage therapists, there's Reiki masters, there's all kinds of energy workers that love. I've got friends that do Jinsen Jitsu. They're all fabulous. But you have to treat the root cause and what is right for that particular case. And just like in people, it's a different conversation for each individual. It's that way for the animal as well.
I totally believe that. Yeah, I worked for a holistic chiropractor for 18 years before I opened this wellness center myself with an acupuncturist. And so I've seen all the magical things and experienced personally, muscle testing. I like when they muscle test where you're out as opposed to going to a chiropractor who doesn't know what he's doing and just adjust. You know what I'm saying? I like the muscle testing.
Yeah. My office is blowing up my phone. Hang on.
So what else do you do in your wellness center, Stephanie?
I do massage. I've been doing massage like 30 years. We do facials. We use Eminence Organics products and another line that's organic. We just expanded last year and we opened up this whole herbal pharmacy. So it's really beautiful, our space. My phone's ringing. Sorry. So, we do acupuncture, massage, and facials, and then we manufacture the herbs for people and pets. My business partner is a doctor of Chinese medicine, and she has a special degree in herbal dermatology. She less than 1% of acupuncture. She went to London 5, 6, 7 times to study with this professor. And what she's doing, we have machines at our place that are like the place in hospitals in China where they're making the herbs. I could take you back there and show you if you wanted to, but I don't have to. Yeah, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, show us. Can you?
Oh, okay, cool. Let me put the lights on. So in the hospitals in China, it really opened my eyes to Western medicine and Chinese medicine. We push carts of drugs in our hospitals, but in China, they push carts of Chinese medicine. So she makes up the herbs, and then she puts them in these machines. You see the machines? Yeah. So you put the herbs in the machine, and it cooks it, and then it puts the liquid into there, and then it makes it into little bags. So it's all Chinese herbs. We have a whole shipping department over here.
Are you wholesaling it? Is that what you're doing, or is it
a bag of beetles? This is beetles, which is gross. Dried beetles. Can you see them?
Yeah.
Hydrated?
They're like squishy, like shells.
Oh, how interesting.
They're beetle shells. So it's cool what we're doing. But now you're scaring me, Dr. Siegel, because we've had this line for 10 years, but we haven't really been marketing it, but we do private label, and that sustains the company. But besides what all the other things we're doing, but now I'm nervous because if every pet is different, then you've got this whole line, and they're what if I don't know?
Well, it's like what you do. How do you select what treatments you offer for your patient? You do physical exam. You use your expertise. Can you imagine somebody who just decides without any education whatsoever as a massage therapist or an acupuncturist, and they just go out there and they start sticking needles in somebody? That would horrify you, wouldn't it? So And I'm not relating that as dramatically, but what I'm saying is that not one solution fits all. So just you and that you do an analysis of your patient that's in front of you, and you pick the things, whether it's intuitive or muscle testing or however you do it, you pick the treatments that are most effective and important for that particular individual at that particular time. And we do the same thing for animals. You can't just do.
But isn't it true that obviously the basis of Chinese medicine and all the herbs is that in the herbs, in whatever combination they can come in, will have some generalized effects that will impact any kind of situation. So from that platform, I mean, her products could be useful, right?
Oh, I'm saying her products would be very useful. They just have to be used appropriately. A scalpel blade is an incredibly important tool when used properly. Herbs are very important tools when used properly. So I'm sure you've muscle tested something that you picked up and you said, I wonder if this is going to be effective, and you find it's not effective because that's not.
How do you muscle test for yourself? Do you do it like this or like that? Or
sway testing? I have become very, very adept at sway testing. So I just allow my
front and back, like yes, no, like that.
Yeah.
So like yes and no, like that kind of thing.
The belly kind of pulls you forward with a yes and no, and now I've done it for so many years. I can actually hear the answer in my head, so I can muscle test from afar. I can muscle test. I don't have to use a surrogate, but it took a long time. It took a lot of time to be able to become trust it. To really trust the answer that you're getting.
What about pendulum? Do you ever use a pendulum, Dr. Siegel?
I do, but it just takes more time, and you have to have it. My body's with me all the time, and I can just go quick, get an answer, and I'm done. And a lot of times people don't even realize what I'm doing, so I don't make people feel weird about it. But any of that, it's whatever you're good with.
All right.
It's so funny because our minds are so fucking powerful. That's what you guys are talking about. And I freaked myself out thinking about some medical thing. And I was doing the muscle testing over and over, and it was coming up with a yes, but the mind was tormented. And then finally, I get the medical answer, like, it's all good, It's like, but it's so funny. I didn't.
Well, when you think about it, our brains have more computing power than all the collective computers in this world. So
absolutely,
it is.
It's really fun to connect. By the way, hi.
Thank you.
More if you do get situations where a case comes up, happy to do a consultation, and then if you have products there, we can always muscle test them and see which ones are going to be most effective, how long, what the dosage is. All of that's relevant. Sometimes I'll come up with a whole bunch of things, but when I put them together and I say, are they effective and are they tolerable? Sometimes you'll get a no, because even though something might be effective, it may not be in the order that the body's ready to receive it. Now we're getting to woo-woo medicine, but so you want to make sure that it's not only effective, but it's tolerable, and it's tolerable with everything else. It may not be that it's ready at that time. You may have to postpone it.
Awesome.
All else, no harm.
Stephanie,
can I ask you one more question, if you don't mind? My own dog is a 7-year-old golden doodle who I love like my child. I've got a 17-year-old daughter and a 24-year-ld son, and Daisy's 7, and she's just like the light of our life. We're obsessed with her. But the other day she started limping, and it was getting better, and I did some, just pulling stuff out and whatever, magic wands and whatever. And I even tapped. I was so, I tapped and, surrogate tapping and all that kind of stuff. But, and then we did order some product someone told my husband, like a MSM or some product online to strengthen or for inflammation, I think. But I should muscle test it on her when it comes. But would you recommend going to get an x-ray? I mean, my gut says yes, because what if it's something like that? But my husband's like, well, she's getting better. But she did jump on the bed again, and which we're trying to not have her do that. So
again,
not good.
From a practitioner perspective, you don't want to go down the wrong rabbit hole. You want to get a good diagnosis. You want to get a good answer. To practice quality medicine, you use all the tools available to you, and you make a good diagnosis. So obviously, getting a veterinarian or somebody qualified who could do a good physical exam. And grafts are a fabulous tool, because what if her leg has a hairline fracture in it? What if she has a tumor? God forbid. But there's so many different things that they can have, and you want to get a diagnosis. And then once you've ruled out a lot of the whatever more common kind of things, then you start looking at other stuff. But let me ask you a question. What do you feed your dog?
Good question. God, I should know this. I know what it is. It's the same thing we've been feeding her, and it's
is it
wellness? Is that?
So that is the very, very first level of order that you need to do, is start feeding a sustainable diet. That's number one.
What's a sustainable diet?
It's a raw diet. I have a lot of information on my website. I also write for a holistic magazine called Abby's. And go to my website and you click on articles, then you'll find there's a pet article in each one of those articles. And there's the latest one was detoxification, but you'll see nutrition is a major component to every conversation I have. And I also have a lot of different radio shows that I've done, and nutrition is always a mainstay of what we talk about. So that would be a good resource. I have blogs written, yada, yada, yada. And then from there, once you get a diagnosis and once you start treating the root cause of the inflammation, because as a practitioner, you know that when we're dealing with disease, especially inflammation, where does it start? It starts in the gut. So when you have leaky gut and you have inflammation coming in through leaky gut, then it's going to hit to whatever the weakest link in your body is. And if that's in your joints or arthritis or whatever, that's where it's going to manifest. If it's in the brain, if it's in the kidneys, in the liver, wherever it shows up. So going back to quit treating the symptom and go back to the root cause. It always starts with sustainable diet and gut health.
And she does not have the best gut health, honestly, because she gets diarrhea occasionally.
That would be the first consultation I would work with you on, is how to improve her diet, how to heal the leaky gut. And it's really not hard, and you may actually have some herbs that will help, but it's a conversation.
Mm-hmm. Hey, would you be willing to have these kind of consults on Blab, Dr. Siegel?
I think they need to be more private, because what happens is that you'll get somebody who will take a piece of information and they apply it, and it may be inappropriate. And I'll give you an example. In people who have leaky gut, some people actually have a disease called SIBO. Have either one of you heard of SIBO?
Actually, I haven't heard of SIBO.
It's small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And it is a far, far more serious condition than somebody who just has, say, a leaky gut. So you take somebody who has SIBO and you put them on a raw diet with fermented vegetables, and they have a histamine problem, they're going to get worse. So there's not one treatment that fits all. It really is about having that conversation with that individual where you actually figure out what's wrong with that particular individual. You make some corrections, you evaluate how they respond. If they get better, you're on the right track. If you have a hiccup in there, that means you have another disorder. So leaky gut has so many different facets. Is it SIBO? Is it leaky gut? Is it histamine reaction? Is it gluten sensitivity? Is it other food intolerances? And all of these apply to animals as well.
So let me rephrase my question.
Which is, makes so much sense. And the whole fact that you put everything back to the gut, it just makes so much sense. You know how you heard things over the years, and someday it'll finally click,
So Dr. Siegel, let me rephrase the question then, because this is still kind of useful information, and will it be possible, at least more in general terms, and not to make it a conclusive consult or conclusive conversation or conclusive treatment program. But this kind of information, I think, would be very valuable for people. I mean, just like you said, you said, people just don't know these kinds of things. So it'd be kind of fun. That's what I was it'd be kind of fun if people could just come up with a general question, and would you be ready to give some general answers?
Well, the conversation that we would have on Blab would be, what is a sustainable diet for a cat? What's a sustainable diet for a dog? What would that look like?
Okay.
Now, where it gets into a little more complication is when we have an animal who is having a health challenge and they go, well, is the answer just going on a raw diet and feeding probiotics? Well, it may not be it may be the foundation, but that may not be all of it. Does it need astragalus? Do we need licorice? Do we need homeopathics? Do we need, there's so many other things in there. Do we need to
but
do
at least you can send them in the right direction so that they actually can go with somebody now with the insight like, oh, okay, now I have some things to talk about and now I can get a real consultation from somebody else.
So at least, like what you just said is, when I ask that question, what do you feed your dog? Well, long before we worry about what the lameness is caused by, we want to look at what's the root cause. So I start with that history. What are you feeding? What's the environment? What do you clean your house with? I'm hoping that you clean more green and organic.
Yes and no. So yes and no. I'm ashamed to say yes and no.
Well, I have 3 pillars of health, and we could have another blab session on this, but I'll give you my little hand thing here. Number 1 is we have to stop polluting the body. Number 2, we have to make sure the body has all the essential nutrients that it needs in order to do its job. Not only do we have 70 trillion cells, but we also make over 30 billion cells a day. In order to do that, we have to provide the building blocks for that to happen. Otherwise, the cells that you're making aren't going to be healthier than the ones you're replacing. Number 3 is how do we detoxify the body? That's a conversation nobody ever has. But you clean your car, you change the oil, you clean your house, you wash your toilets, you do all these things to clean the equipment that you deal with. What do you think your body is? It's the grandest machine that you have. So just like us and our pets, we need to be detoxifying our bodies on a conscientious, routine, regular basis in a way that is sustainable. And then number 4 in my health program is what is left over after you've quit polluting, after you've given all the nutrients that you need, after you've done adequate detoxification, whatever that might be, what else is left that you still need to address?
Right.
Make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. So we'll definitely do a blab on that sometime. I've got to wrap it up. If you have any last questions, Stephanie, or last statement.
No, I'm so grateful and a pleasure to meet both of you and the other gentleman as well. So I hang out definitely on the community blab lounge and just talk to the air because it helps me just I have a lot of friends there and they pop on and meeting new people. It's kind of fun. So if you're ever in the community blab lounge, come and say hello.
All right. Well, I'm already following you. You're following me, I guess. Maybe not.
Yeah, no, I've been following you for a while. So yeah.
So okay, good. Did you want to give me any feedback on the blabs? Are they good? Helpful?
Very good.
All right.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys.
We're doing a lot of testing and leaving a blab open. I'm the blab police.
All right. Well, good for you. We want you. We like you.
To
Bye.
follow on Facebook and just help share and spread information. So grateful.
Yes. Yes. I don't think for some reason the thing to tweet it and going to Facebook is working. I send it to Facebook. I'll look and see, but tweeting hasn't been working. But it is good when it does work.